And it is looking like we are live here on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Twitter. So great. Yesterday we had a little problem with LinkedIn, and I figured out what that problem was. So hopefully we can avoid that happening in the future. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about faith and freedom. And when we talk about faith, there are a couple different forms of faith that we can actually be talking about. And I'm going to be talking about two more obvious forms of faith. And then that'll lead us into a discussion about the third form of faith, which people may be aware of, but it's something that I think we overlook, especially in our Western societies. So, yeah, the first form of faith, which can lead to either freedom or it can lead to a new type of slavery, actually, is faith in a higher power. And this form of faith, if our higher power, is that not showing up? It did show up. Thank you, higher power. If our faith in our higher power is in a power greater than ourselves, which is of a spiritual nature, then yeah, this can be liberating if we have our faith in a God, a God of our understanding, not a false God. Now, if our faith is in a power greater than ourselves, that is also kind of corrupt. And I mean, this can be practically anything. Think of a power greater than yourself. Does not have to be a spiritual entity. It can be a worldly entity. It can be like a form of religion. People can become addicted to the teachings of their own church. Not saying that religion is evil per se, but I'm saying that worldly religions they have become institutionalized over the centuries. And one thing that we know about institutions that are created by human beings or run by human beings, they are all corruptible. So, yeah, if you put your faith in something other than the infinite source of the universe, something, a power I like to call either God or source or just the infinite, if you put your faith in an institution, institutions can be good. They can also become very corrupt over time. That's a form of faith that can lead to bondage rather than to liberation. And another higher power that we can put our faith in that, can lead to freedom or slavery is faith in the government. And I mean, when governments work, governments are good. Governments can do a lot of good. When they become corrupt, governments can be pure evil, just tyranny, running rampant across the face of the earth. So, faith in a higher power, faith in a power greater than ourselves, it can be liberating when we believe that we're placing our faith in a spiritual higher power. Then, yeah, that can be very empowering. That can be very liberating. Now, when we kind of dull that down a little bit and we end up placing our faith not necessarily in a spiritual higher power, but in a power greater than ourselves in the form of an institution of religion, uh, form of government. Governments can be corrupt, as we've already said, even in a book. I have heard people saying that I believe in the Bible. As a Christian minister for several years, I dealt with a lot of people that would say, I believe in the Bible. I have read the Bible. And then you ask them about a certain quote in the Bible, and you can quickly find out they haven't really read their Bible. A lot of people that say they believe in the Bible and have read the Bible have not actually read the Bible. They'll be like, I've read this book here, cover to cover. It's like there's the front cover, there's the back cover to cover reading. Yeah, that's how some people really view cover to cover reading. But yeah, some people can put their faith in a book, like the Bible, But I mean, are you really putting your faith in the Bible, or are you putting your faith in your own interpretation of what you think the Bible says? I mean, there are limitations to all this. And it's like there's a saying, even the devil can quote scripture to serve his own purposes. And so, yeah, we have to be careful with that. But yeah, definitely having faith in a higher power can be good. It can lead to our liberation, properly used. It can also lead to our mental and even physical enslavement if improperly used. So, faith in a higher power can be a good thing, can also be a bad thing. What other forms of faith are there? Well, there is faith in yourself, otherwise known as self confidence. And yeah, having faith in yourself, some people that are religious will sometimes think that faith in yourself is mutually exclusive to having faith in a higher power. But I see them as being connected, and we'll see this in greater detail when we get to our third form of faith. But if you want to accomplish something, if you want to do something great in your life, you do have to have a certain level of self confidence. And, I've seen people in church work who had great faith in a power greater than themselves, but they had absolutely no faith in themselves, no self confidence, just zero practically. And I would try to reach out to these people by saying, okay, you believe in God. You believe that God made you, right? Do you believe that God makes garbage? And this would make them think, okay, God is good, God is great. Does God make garbage? Because God made me, right? And if I'm looking down upon myself as a worm, as a piece of garbage, is that really what I believe that my heavenly creator would do? Does God create garbage? And that can kind of make people think. But yeah, having faith in yourself does not have to be mutually exclusive to having faith in a power greater than yourself. You can have it both ways. And again, we're going to see this in the next step here. But yeah, if you want to accomplish something good, you have to first believe that it is possible for you to accomplish that end. You also have to believe that you yourself can do it, either, with the gifts that your higher power has given to you, with the talents that you have, or with the aid of your higher power. And Napoleon Hill has a great verse about this, which he has in his book, Think and Grow Rich. And it's a little verse. I'm not sure if he wrote this himself or if it's something he's quoting from somebody else, but he has it listed in his section on faith. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this. It is a great little verse about the necessity of having self confidence. It goes, if you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you're lost, if you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you'll ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the one who wins is the one who believes he can. And that's a great little verse there about the necessity of self confidence, the necessity of having faith, not just in your heart as faith in a higher power, but faith as a state of mind, a belief that no matter what struggles you face in your life, You have the ability to rise up and face them and overcome them. And with that level of self confidence, a person can really do practically anything. And that is something that can really limit us if we allow it to. Uh, a lot of people will have faith that, I can go out, I can find a job, I can earn five figures, I can find a job that will pay me, $20,000 a year, maybe $15,000 a year, maybe $50,000 a year. If you ask people, okay, how much money do you believe you can make, you know, finding the right job, finding the right circumstances, and you ask them, okay, do you think you can generate like $20,000 a year in income? Most people would probably think, yes, I can do that. You ask them about, okay, $50,000 a year. Some folks might waver. Others would say, okay, yes, I can do that. I'm doing that now. Okay, great. How about $100,000 a year? There, more people might waver. And then you raise it up to maybe $500,000 a year, $1 million a year. Steve Martin once had a joke in his early stand up days. I've got a way that you can make $1 million in 30 days. Just find a job that pays $12 million a year, quit after the first month. Done deal. Easy, simple. But now a lot of people may not really have the faith, the self confidence that they could generate an income of 1 million or 2 million or $3 million a year. And in entrepreneurial circles, I am now networking with a lot of $1 million earners, seven-figure earners who used to be living in like trailers, who used to be living, on somebody else's couch because they got kicked out of their own apartment and man, they had to do what they had to do. But I mean, yeah, guys and women that just came up from nothing who somehow began to generate $1 million incomes because they learned to have faith in themselves, faith in a power greater than themselves, and they began to apply that faith in their lives. In his book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill tells the story of a Chicago minister who needed $1 million to get started in a project that he wanted to do to better his church and to better the people in his local community. And he knew he had to raise $1 million to get this project off the ground. And he didn't know exactly how he was going to do it, but he thought, okay, maybe if I write a sermon and we can pack the church, we can get a lot of people in that church, we can take the first step towards raising that $1 million in cash that we need for this project. And I don't know, maybe he was also thinking if I can do it one Sunday, I can do it another Sunday and another Sunday and another Sunday. And eventually we can raise the $1 million that it's going to take to get this project off the ground. So he sat down, he wrote a sermon, what I would do with $1 million. And he went ahead, he advertised the sermon coming up in the newspaper, this Sunday at, such and such a church. I will be preaching on what I would do if I had $1 million. And he wrote out his sermon, he practiced it, he read it. The Sunday morning that he was to deliver it, he read it while he was shaving. And then I think, as the story goes, he left his notes in the bathroom and he went into the church. And when it came time for him to preach the sermon, he realized he was working without notes, but he had memorized it to the point where he could just do it from the heart. And he got up into the pulpit and he delivered his sermon, what I would do if I had $1 million, laid out his plans for how he would benefit the church, how he would benefit the local community, the project that he was wanting to develop, the project that he had in mind. And he delivered that sermon. And then, as you know, ministers do, after when the Sunday service is completed, went to the back of the church, started shaking hands with people as they were leaving the church. This one businessman shook his hand and said, "Pastor, that was an excellent sermon. I've been listening to you now for a little while. I believe that you can do what you say you wish to do. And if you would just come over to my office tomorrow morning, I would be very happy to write you a check for $1 million to help you in this undertaking." And he gave the minister the directions to his office, and the minister was just flabbergasted because what he thought would take maybe a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a year to accomplish, it was accomplished that very day. With that one generous businessman that said, "I believe in you. You believe you can do this. I believe you can do this too. Come over to my office. I'm going to cut you a check for $1 million. Let's get this thing rolling." Now, a lot of times in ministry, in business, in life, we do not see results that quickly. More often than not, it does take a few weeks, might take a few months, might even take a few years to get the capital raised to do the things in life that we set out to do. But things can happen quickly. And I mean, it all depends. Do we have enough faith in ourselves, enough self confidence to let people know that, okay, we believe that we can do this. Will you support me in this effort? And so, yeah, that's the second kind of faith that can be very powerful, having faith in yourself. Now, there's a third form of faith. I think I've already alluded to it, but let's just state it out clearly. The third form of faith is more of a mystical form of faith. It's having faith in a power that is both within you and without you. Great old Beatles song by George Harrison, "Within You and Without You." But yes, we can have faith in a power greater than ourselves, but that does not necessarily mean that that power is outside of us. It can be a power greater than us that can be found both within and without in the outer world. Mystics of every spiritual tradition have spoken of this on some level. And Napoleon Hill, he alludes to this in his book, Think and Grow Rich, his chapter on faith. He advises people, have faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. He connects the two. Faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. They are not mutually exclusive. They can be hand in hand. And when we do this, when we have faith that our higher power is also within us, we can supercharge our lives. When we believe that God is not only with us, but within us, then I mean we can believe that, okay, I know who walks with me, I know who lives within me, and I have nothing to fear. The world can throw anything it wants to at me, and I will overcome because I know I am truly not alone in this universe. I know who walks beside me. I know who walks within me. And this has been known throughout the ages, long before Napoleon Hill, long before the religions that we now know in the world, long before most of the religions that we now know in the world. The Greeks had a saying. There is a word in English that we call enthusiasm. And it's like we know that enthusiasm can be infectious. We know that if you have the power of enthusiasm, you can not only psych yourself up to believe you can do whatever you need to do, you can also convince other people around you very easily. They can see the enthusiasm that you have, and they can believe in you too. And they can want to partner with you. They can want to, join forces with you in accomplishing your mission here on this planet. And the Greeks, our word enthusiasm, it's based on two Greek words, en theos, the literal meaning of which is having a God within, that mystical presence of a divine spirit living within. Very empowering. And we carry that forward in this English word called enthusiasm, having God within. And with all the world has been through the last 3 years with, COVID-19 and 2020 and everything that's followed since, we need another infectious something to go through the world, not a virus, but the power of enthusiasm. Call this Enthusiasm 2023. We need to get excited about something positive and really believe that, okay, I have a definite purpose in life. I've got the power to attain that purpose, and I've got a living presence dwelling within me that's going to supercharge me to really accomplish what I need to accomplish in my remaining years of life. And for those of you who practice meditation, you know already how you can get in touch with that power within, a power that is both within you and without you. For others, may not be quite as obvious, but I mean, we all have these sayings in our different spiritual and religious traditions. There is the saying that, we are all children of a common God, the Vatican II documents in the Roman Catholic Church. This is echoed in other documents, other creeds, other traditions. We are children of the divine. We are sons and daughters of the divine source. And, if we believe, if we really believe that we are children of God, children of a common God, then we have to believe that we also possess certain divine attributes. Dogs, they give birth to dogs. They have the attributes of dogs. Cows give birth to cows. They have the attributes of cows. Humans give birth to other humans, and they have the attributes of humans, both good and bad, the whole bag. And if we are children of a common God, then we have to believe that we also possess certain divine attributes. Attributes like love, attributes like faith, attributes like, nurturing, wanting to do good in the world. We do have certain divine attributes. It's just that most of us have been thinking in terms of being separated from the spiritual world for so long that it's hard as heck to begin feeling like we are connected. And it may take a while, and this is what I find helpful in my own spiritual practice is meditation. Help me to kind of de-stress, declutter my life, get in tune with the power of my understanding, and just hang out and begin to realize that, this great power that most people see as being outside of them is also living, breathing, and giving me my being within me, within you, within everything that exists in the known and unknown universe, both in things seen and unseen. So when we have that level of faith, that we have a higher power that we can call upon, that we can network with, And this can be, a power other than humans. It can also be a power that is within humanity. It can be in the people that we network with. But when we also see that power as living within and living within all other people, then we see, okay, we have a fantastic power that we can tap into, a power that is both empowering and liberating. There are some people that view God as being a tyrant. I went to school with a philosophy teacher who taught that God is a tyrant, and he was a man of faith. He was also a man of philosophy. And yeah, Doctor, what's his name? Can't remember who he is, what his name is now. He's probably passed a long time ago. But yeah, he saw God as being a tyrant. There are other people that see God as being their friend. What a friend we have in Jesus. There are other people that see God as being a teacher, a lover, a divine master that wants only the best for his and her children. God is a parent, your heavenly Father, spoken of by Jesus, spoken also of by Lord Krishna in the Hindu tradition. Uh, we have these points of view. Whatever view you have of God, that's going to become the view that dominates in your life. And that's going to be the point of view that is going to give you either power in your own personal life or the belief that takes away your power in your own personal life. But the way I see it now, I have been across the spectrum in my own spiritual journey, but I now have faith in a power that is outside of me, but a power that I can have access to, and a power that I can connect with, both within me through the art of meditation and without me as I go through my life in the outer world, as I go through walks of nature. I can see God in a cat. I can see the God of my understanding in nature. I can see the God of my understanding in other people. Sometimes it's easier to see the demons in other people than it is to see the God of your understanding in other people. But we're all a mixed bag. We're all a combination of good and evil. And ultimately, what we choose to grow in our life is a side of us that we choose to nurture. But yeah, I've learned I can see my higher power all around me. And sometimes when I feel like I want to despair, I just look at a coffee cup and I think to myself, this coffee cup, it's more than just what it holds. It's more than just the words of Napoleon Hill that I have inscribed upon it. It's also a form of the divine, God in material form. If you believe that the Creator is in all creation, then you also have to believe on some level that the divine power that made the universe and holds the universe in place is also to be found in all things in the universe. All people, rocks, stones, even in a moldy head of cabbage that may be sitting in the back of your refrigerator right now. So, yeah, when it comes to faith, a lot of people may choose faith in a power that is outside of themselves, power that they feel disconnected from. And that can be a lonely place to be. Other people can feel that they have faith within themselves, all kinds of self confidence. But wrongly applied, even self confidence can lead us into, you know, bad paths, bad ways. But when we combine the two, we have faith in a power greater than ourselves. We also have self confidence within ourselves. And we believe that this outer power is also a part of us. Our Heavenly Father, our Heavenly Mother dwelling within. Then we reach a level of mystical union that really empowers us, frees us, liberates us to do whatever it is that we feel called to do in what remains of our earthly life. So that's the power of faith. And there are three different levels of faith that we can have. What level of faith are you working on right now? I'm not saying that one is necessarily better than the other, although I definitely believe that, the third one is definitely a good one to have. But, it all depends. I've been different places in my spiritual walk. Where are you at right now? If you feel comfortable, let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to partner with me in any business activity or in any other kind of mindset, spiritual development type work, visit my website at www.ralphshomebiz.com/offers. That's my links page. And on that links page, you will find an invitation down towards the bottom for the Grow Rich Mastermind Collection. That is a free call that you can participate in that will help you develop a mindset of abundance and maybe help you on your spiritual path as well, wherever you may be. But it will definitely be a boon for developing a mindset of abundance. On that call, we have seven-figure leaders who take turns hosting the call every day, Monday through Friday. And it's a 1 hour call. The first half is us reading out of a text, usually, Napoleon Hill or Wallace D. Wattles, one of their works. And then the second half of the call is people sharing where they've been in their walk, where they have been in their growth, and what they want to accomplish, and just sharing where they've been and where they believe they are going to now. So that is my free gift to you, and you can find it. I'm going to pin this to my pinned post on all of my main social media. You can find this on my pinned post in Facebook, LinkedIn, uh, uh, and on Twitter. I haven't done it on LinkedIn yet, but I will. But yeah, the pinned post will be advertising the Mastermind Collection. It is a free offer that you can take advantage of. And if you need help growing a mindset of abundance, I encourage you to join with us in this group. It is definitely a very spiritual group. It is not religious. We come from all different backgrounds. I think the majority of our leaders are Christian. Some are New Age. I'm Hindu. But I mean, we're all over the place, but we're all joined together in this common cause of helping to grow a mindset of abundance, both individually within our own lives and spreading that to other people across the board. And you can be Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu. We do not discriminate. Atheists, spiritual atheists. This was a mind blower for me, but there are spiritual atheists out there, very spiritual people who are also atheists. We don't judge, but yeah, we welcome you to join with us in this morning call if you are so led. So yeah, find that there at ralphshomebiz.com/offers, or find that on any of my social media pages. It'll be the pinned post there. So yeah, that is all for now. This is Ralph signing out. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, with the Freedom Alliance. That's what we're going to be calling this podcast moving forward. Going to be talking about how we can build freedom in our lives through home-based business, through masterminding with other people, through developing networks with other people, developing alliances. And that's why I thought I'm going to call this live stream going forward the Freedom Alliance, because we are all freedom seekers if we really want freedom. And we are all freedom builders. We are all freedom crusaders, each in our own different way. And that's what we're going to be talking about in future live streams, how to grow abundance and freedom in our own lives through the vehicle of home based business and other vehicles as well. So, thank you for dropping by, brothers and sisters. This is Ralph signing out. We'll catch you in future updates. Until then, have a beautiful Sunday and God bless you. However, you understand that in whatever pursuits you are undertaking right now. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. How do I shut this thing off? I got a cranky computer right now. Try that again. I think it's going to work.